Hey everybody, Matt Johnston here with another COVID-19 legal update. And today we are talking about employees who refuse to come back to work when you're offering to do so, and the proceeds of your payroll protection program loan. So under the terms of the PPP, an employer must use 75% of the loan proceeds for payroll expenses. And payroll expenses is pretty broadly defined. It can include things like healthcare benefits and state and local payroll taxes, but not federal. Not sure why that is. But regardless of the situation, as long as you're using the proceeds of the loan to pay for payroll purposes, 75% of it your loan will get forgiven. So the question that's been coming up that we are getting is, what happens if you are a non-essential business and you are rehiring employees and those employees refuse to come back to work? An awful lot of employees right now are making more money on unemployment than they were when they were employed. So some are refusing to come back for those reasons. Some may legitimately be fearful of coming back to work. So the question is does the loan forgiveness, is that number, that 75% number, reduced if there is refusals to come back to work? Right now, the answer to that question is no, according to the IRS. Their recent guidance as of the end of last week has indicated that if an employee refuses to come back to work, your loan amount, that 75% number, is not going to be reduced. But the IRS has said that they are going to be issuing an interim rule, a temporary rule, that would allow for a potential exemption. And that exemption would be couched on whether or not you have provided enough documentation. So the advice right now is, if you are going to be rehiring employees using a PPP loan and the employee refuses to come back, you need to provide a couple of different things. The first is, make your offer to rehire in writing. So send a letter. It's okay if you send a letter by email, but send a physical letter if possible. Send an electronic letter. Don't just simply pick up the phone and say, hey, come back. Don't do it in an informal email. Send a very formalized email making that offer. If the employee refuses to come back, document that refusal. That refusal can be an email from them. It can be notes from you, contemporaneously made. It could also be a refusal from the employee in writing. You probably cannot require the employee to respond to you in writing, but if they do, make sure you keep a copy of that. So what happens later is, depending upon what the interim rule says, we'll provide a little bit more guidance. The IRS has not said when that interim rule is going to be available, but as soon as it's available, we will let you know. On a side note related to employees who refuse to come back, it is possible that an employee who refuses to come back may lose their unemployment benefits. Most states have a voluntary quit provision. So if an employee refuses to come back to work, that may be considered a voluntary quit without valid circumstances, and therefore they would lose their unemployment benefits. Now, I want everybody to be absolutely clear on this next point. Do not threaten your employees with reporting them about a voluntary quit. You do that and you're likely to open up a hornet's nest that you probably don't want to deal with. So my advice is, if there is a reporting mechanism with the state, and an employee refuses to come back to work, ask why they're refusing to come back to work, and you can report to the state unemployment office that you made an offer for rehire, and you allow the state unemployment office to make the determination of what's going to happen. Most state unemployment offices have a tool that would allow you to make the reports that you have offered the various people back for rehire. In this era, there's a lot of questions that are going on. We're not quite sure what all of the answers are, but we are trying to do our best. We will keep an eye out for the interim rule from the IRS, and when that becomes available, we will certainly let you know. In the meantime, stay safe out there. If you have questions about your PPP loan, the use of the proceeds, dealing with employees who are refusing to come back, dealing with employees who are coming back, please pick up the phone or drop by our open office hours, and we will do our best to answer whatever questions you may have. In the meantime, stay safe, and we will talk to you later. Bye-bye.